my name's Craig. I'm Craig Broadbent. I'm a physical therapist and clinic manager here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm with Tennessee Orthopedic Clinics. It's part of the CORA clinic system. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about golf and how exercises translate to golf and your swing, and making sure you have good efficiency with your swing and you're injury free. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to Peyton. That's Peyton. She's my tech. She's been an all-star for me lately in helping keeping our clinic really clean, keeping cleanliness going, and keeping patients safe and healthy. Couldn't done it without her. So we've been keeping the clinic clean lately, and that's kind of what we just finished up doing. So sorry for the late start a little bit, but so I want to get started by golf is something we can do right now. Golf is awesome way to get outdoors and be safe and healthy still while maintaining social distancing. So I want to help all the golfers out there, even the non-golfers out there, if they want to get into it. This is a great time to do that. So start off by talking about a few injuries, common golf injuries that we have. Low back pain is probably the most common. It's very, very common in the swing, and we're going to get into some things that cause that and see what creates that. Other things are, hand, wrist, elbow, tendonitis. A lot of that's from the impact into the turf on the golf course, changing turf. Some of it's soft, some of it's firm, rough, fairway, even rocky lies, stuff like that. And then repetitiveness too, as far as tendonitis type issues can occur from just beating balls, getting, especially nowadays, early in the season when everybody's just trying to get out there and get going. So knee and ankle pain is also a huge one. Knee and ankle pain is with the torque of the swing, the high speeds that impact. You've got a lot of pain that or stuff that can develop in the body there with a lot of times repetitiveness as well. So those things are things we prevent, and I'm going to show you ways to do that today. And also, if you're having injuries or have an injury or having any pain, then that will really help kind of diminish that, hopefully. I'm a TPI certified, that's Untitled Chapter, and that's something I've always wanted to do with my career. It helps me blend my knowledge of PT, physical therapy, along with the golf swing, and help golfers in the regional area and help them kind of achieve their goals in the golf game. So the TPI course I went through had a couple concepts that I want to hit on really quick, and the first one is the body swing connection. So basically what that means is it's how you move is going to translate to how you swing. So basically when you're everybody's in club differently. There's so many different ways to swing and so many different varieties out there, but the way you move your body, and everybody's going to be different, is going to translate that. And the swing itself is going to be different, but you're also going to have limitations in your swing. So some limitations are okay because everybody has them. Even pro golfers will have some limitations, but also there's going to be some limitations that can lead to compensations over time, and then over time compensations can lead to injury. So we want to make sure we're addressing those early, and that's kind of part of what we're going to do today as well. Another concept to TPI is regional interdependence, and basically what that means is it's basically the human body is made up of alternating segments of mobility and then stability, right? So we'll start at the bottom, for example. So the foot is a really stable joint. It's really not meant to move much. It's supposed to provide accept the force through the ground. But right above that, you've got your ankle, right? So that's really hypermobile joint. It moves in multiple planes. It has really good mobility to it. And then you going up the chain, you got the knee. It's supposed to be really stable, so you want it to be really strong. Quads, hamstrings, calves, all that be really strong. And then you get up to the hip. Now the hip is where you've got a mobile joint, but right above that you've got the spine, the lumbar spine. And then above that you got the thorax, the thoracic spine. So it's supposed to go mobile, stable, mobile. And that's where you get a lot of injuries. And that's usually because one of those issues is out of whack, and we'll talk about that here going forward. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started, but we're going to use that regional interdependence concept as a model to take us through these few exercises. So we're going to start with the ankle and start from the bottom, work our way up, and I'm going to show you a few exercises we can do to kind of get that ankle moving, because it needs to be mobile. So I'm going to grab a few things from over here. Okay, so one of my favorite go-tos to get ankle dorsiflexion is when we're going to lean forward and we're going to provide just a little general glide here, okay? So really trying to keep that heel on the ground, and you're trying to move that knee over your toes, okay? Just going like that. So the reason we need to do this is because in the golf swing, nobody really thinks about ankle dorsiflexion, but when you take the swing back, and you're going back in your swing, you have to stay in a pretty squatted position. A lot of people will kind of stand up, or they'll kind of just stand up here or stand up here. So you want to be able to maintain that posture right there. And a lot of times it's because you lose your squat. And ankle dorsiflexion is a huge critical portion of squatting. So we need to make sure we have that. Another thing that happens in the ankle is a little bit of, if you zoom in on my foot here, we got a lot of rotation here. So you see how it kind of dives in and I'm turning my tibia onto my ankle there. You have to rotate a lot back there, and then when you're coming down, you're going to have to almost supinate a little bit, bring that foot up, or just twist it out. It doesn't matter which one you do, but we need a lot of ankle mobility here, so that's what we're going to show you. So back to the exercise. So you got this one here to improve that ankle dorsiflexion. Another progression you can have, take a foam roller, just kind of going up and down that calf, trying to find any tender spots or issues. I call this one search and destroy. So you're really just trying to search for any knots right there, work it out, because sometimes the ankle dorsiflexion can be limited by, calf and Achilles tightness. So you're just doing that. Okay. Another progression, add a little weight to it. So you're just adding that weight. You're really putting pressure down there, so you're just getting that ankle to glide there. Okay. Now to work on the in and out of the ankle, you can just go sideways or go in here. We're just trying to get that ankle moving. Okay. You can go all the way out to the outside just to simulate that. Same thing with going in. Okay. Gotcha. So there we go. If it's difficult for you to get into a kneeling position, you can always just do it standing. It's kind of good to have a wall to use as a guide, but you can just kind of glide like that, going forward like that. You can put it in a chair. You can put it going like this. So multiple ways to adapt it if you have issues kneeling. Okay? All right, so that's the ankle. Now we're going to move up to the hip. Like we said, the knee is a very stable joint, so as long as you have good strength, quads, hamstrings, calves, you'll be okay there. We're going to move up to the hip. So I'm going to show you on the golf swing what the hip will do. We'll start there. You okay, Peyton? Got it. Okay. So going back into the swing, rotation is key. It's huge for the hip. So as I go back, my hip has to internally rotate here, has to externally rotate here. And I get to the top, and I need to maintain, good squat to it, okay? So a lot of that is strength of the hip, and we're going to talk about that too as well. But when you get here, you want to rotate, and when you get here, you want to rotate. So now coming down, this one's internally rotating, this one's externally rotating. So as you can see, mobility is huge. So get to the top, coming through, so good rotation. So we're going to simulate some exercises to help with rotation. Okay, come over here. So get into this position, this hook lying position. Let's go to the front, so you can see this. And what you're going to do, we're going to try to work on that hip rotation. So I want you to go in, really hold that stretch. You'll feel it kind of outside there. You want to do both legs. Just going back and forth. But that's one way. If you want to add a little stretch to it, you just add that there. Okay, same thing with this one. Rotating it in. Okay. So that's internal rotation. If you want to work both ways, so we're going to simulate the hips moving through the backswing and through the downswing. So we're going to do that. We're going to go try to keep your pelvis on the ground and your back on the mat. We're just going to rotate them both. Breathe out at the end if you want to. Good. And that like this. And going through the swing. Okay. So those are all ways to improve hip mobility. an advanced one that I'm not good at, but I'm going to show you because you might be better at rotating the hips than me. So we're going to get into like a 90-90 position. Okay, so you're trying to sink this hip down into the table, and this one's rotating here. So what we're going to do is called windmills. Kind of come into here, and I really feel that pulling right there on the outside of my hip. We're going to go there, and you're going to go back this way. So what this is doing is keeping a stable lower body while we move our upper body. And we're going to talk about that here in a second, why that's important. I call these windmills. Just kind of sinking into it, and then you can obviously switch sides. You're going back like this, and then going back like this. Good. All right, so that's the hip. We're going to move on to the core. So we talked about a mobile hip, and we need a stable core, right? So the reason is we're gonna go back into the swing. If I lose hip mobility or thorax mobility, my core has to make up for that lost mobility, right? And so it might tend to rotate more than it should. The core is not supposed to be able to move much. It's not supposed to rotate much. We want it really stable. You know, just as you go through, you have to kind of rotate everything through, right? So we want a really strong core. That way we can stay in our posture as well. A lot of times, like we talked about, that standing up, when we get to here, you want to stay here as long as you can because that's where you get your power from. If you're losing power, it's because you're standing up or sucking in. If you look at the best pros in the world, most of them, they keep their bottom back on this line here, and they don't suck in like this. That's how Roy McIlroy is 5'8" and hits it 330. So that's one thing he's really good at is just staying here, and that's a lot of that is strong core there. So what we want to do is show you today a couple exercises to get that engaged, but also improve something called a pelvic tilt. So I'm going to come from this side here. So you want to maintain this tilt right here. So pelvis is kind of, you want to maintain it all the way here until you get to the very end, and then you can start untilting there. So you go from an anterior tilt with good posture to a posterior tilt. It's like filling the bucket up and then emptying the bucket, and vice versa. So you want to maintain that. So I'm going to show you that first. So let's come over here, baby. We're going to do a pelvic tilt, and that's basically what I just showed you standing up. It's just harder to do standing up, so we're going to do it laying down first. So you want to put your hands in the back there, and you want to feel your back flatten out. If you can see it, my pelvis is rocking like this, right? So it's going here to here. And that's key in the golf swing. And we're going to do that. And when I do it, when I get to here, I really feel a tight squeeze here. My core is really tight, so that's important there. Okay? So you're trying to really tighten that up. Once you master that one, another great way to feel that, get into this position, you're going to sink in, you're going to really round. Okay? So you can see my pelvis. So I'm emptying the bucket right there of water, filling it back up. Okay. And then those two progressions will help you do it in standing. So you just go back to how I showed you in standing. So that might take, a week or two to get used to it, but that's a good progression to start. Okay. This next one is really going to be good for dissociation. Okay, so what that means is you want to separate the upper body moving from the lower body. So I'm going to take this. This is the simple version. You're pushing your hands into the ball. You keep one hand on. And you go like that. You're alternating. So that's the simpler version. The next progression would be alternate. So I'm going to go left leg, right arm, and vice versa. Just like that. Okay? So you're getting a good core contraction. You're maintaining that core contraction as you move upper body from lower body. So that's very important. You could also try it like this, where your legs are off. You're doing the same thing. That's a lot tougher. You're trying to maintain that tilt right back there. So, okay. So we got 2 more body parts. 2 more body parts, and we're next going to talk about, where'd my golf club go? We're going to talk about the thorax, the thoracic spine. So this is really huge. So this is, you have to have good rotation here. That way you can separate that upper body from lower body that we just talked about. So if you have a lot of rotation here, you don't have to rotate as much in your lumbar spine, and it doesn't lead to injury. So we really want to improve mostly this back swing, but also this forward swing. So you can see here and here, most golfers, most amateur golfers, are going to just go all arms, and their upper body and lower body may come together all at once. And you've seen that move where you come over the top and the ball goes slicing off the planet that way. So we want to make sure we start here. You're leading with the hips. So if you have the thoracic rotation, you can leave that there and then open up the hips. And we're going to do that one here for the shoulder here in a second, but I also want to show you ways to get this upper body rotation going. Okay, we're going to start on the table. You're going to get out here. You're going to put your knees together and just let one kind of drop off. Okay, so you got one on top of the other. You're going to put your arms out to the side, and you're going to open it up. Now the key with this one is your neck has to follow, because I don't want you to hurt your neck. You're going to open your hands up all the way, all the way, all the way, watching that hand. Breathe out when you get to the end there. About 5 seconds. So we're really opening up that spine there. So coming up, rotating out, holding it about 5 seconds. Really breathe, let that thing sink in there. Come back. Okay. So you do that on one side, and then you flip to the other side. Really dropping that hip in, arm out, going up, really sinking in. You may notice you've got more rotation from one side to the other, but they both need to be pretty good. Okay? Gotcha. So there was that. A way to progress that. And this is 2 progressions to it. So you get on the knee. You get in like a lunge position. Put one hand in front of the other, and we're going to open up towards the hip that's up. We're going to go here, rotate out, and you see I'm rotating my hip because I have to turn against this stable one, but I'm also rotating my thorax, my thoracic spine. So starting here, going out, do that, and then you switch sides, and you go the other way, going towards the hip that's up. So you're really opening that stuff up. If you want to make it even more challenging, take a band, put your hands together. Now you're incorporating the core in there. So you got resistance as you turn, really using that core strength. There you go. So that's a way to get that thoracic spine moving, but incorporating some progressions with that. Okay, the last body part today. I'm skipping a few, but these are the most important ones to help with an efficient swing and also prevent injury. So we're going to go over here. And what we're going to do, you're going to get it kind of like you would hold a golf club here. You're going to hold on to something about shoulder width height. This is the best thing I got. It's pretty close. And what you're going to do, get into like a wide stance there. You're going to hold on with these arms, and you're going to rotate your lower body out. I feel a really big stretch here. So when you're holding a golf club and you're going back into your swing, you have to have a lot of adduction right here, so a cross, but it's also going up, so you have to come up here. All right, so that's just to get it to the top of the swing. When you come down, you need to have good mobility. Having some technical difficulties here. I think we're okay.
Okay.
Let me know if it's not working.
There.
We're almost done. We got to finish up here. So shoulders are here. And we're trying to rotate here just to add some stretch to these shoulders. I feel it really good on the lats here. You're going to go back here, and you're really, this is simulating a golf swing. You're opening that chest. Then you can turn the other way, do the same thing. Get in your swing, come the other way. This is a left-handed move, but really opening that up. And so that's a good stretch there. So there's kind of ran out of time a little bit, but there's multiple progressions we can make with these things. There's other body parts we can hit. I really want you to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. There's a lot of other complex movements that we can combine all these. These were more isolated movements, isolated stretches, isolated that. So we want to, there's ways to multiply it all together and just combine it all in one movement. You can do med ball throws, things like that. And another thing too is warm-ups. So warm-ups are huge in golf, but nobody really does them. So if you have any questions at all or want to reach out to me for more information on how to combine all these movements, but also improve your warm-up or even start a warm-up for golf swing, that would be great for me to help you with. And if I'm not in your area, then reach out to your nearest CORA clinic. They'd be happy to help you and help improve your way onto better golf. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate everything, and let me know if you have any questions.